Welcome back to the Venom Workshop. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about how to maintain your 125cc ATV. And this pertains to actually more than just the 125. It also pertains to the 110. So this covers a wide range of the ATVs that we sell, like the Premium Maddox here, or the Grizzly, or the Mini Maddox, or the Venom Viper. Any of these ATVs are going to have the same maintenance schedule. It's going to be the same routine. Everything's going to be the exact same parts. So anything that has to be done for an oil change, things like that, it's all going to be the same on every unit. There's not going to be any difference. Even the base oil, even in the 110, it takes the same amount as the 125s. So it's not going to be a whole different situation type thing. Everything's going to be the same. So you've had your ATV, say, for a season, and it's come around now. It's time for you to do some maintenance, things like that. There are some things that you're going to want to look out for. First off, you're going to want to check for loose bolts and nuts. It happens. It's an ATV. It does some vibrating, driving when you're bouncing around, things like that. So screws are going to get loose. It doesn't matter if it's a Venom ATV or a Yamaha ATV or a Honda ATV. It doesn't matter what ATV it is. Always check for loose bolts, because stuff rattles, and once it starts to rattle, it just loosens up and it can fall off very easily. So that's going to be your first maintenance point. So we're going to go over, we're going to start taking a look at some of the stuff that we're going to be looking at. Like I said, your oil is going to be one that you're going to want to change. Another thing you're going to want to change is your spark plug. And the spark plug might not be done, but it will be a lot more efficient for your machine. It's going to run better with a new plug in it. It just is. And for the price of a spark plug, I mean, a spark plug costs what, $4? It's worth every penny. So to take out your spark plug, it's a 16 mil ratchet. I am going to pull the spark plug out on this one and show you. It's not hard. It's going to be the same on every engine. There's our spark plug right here. It's right underneath the spark plug cap here. So we pull that out. There's our spark plug. So we're going to pull that out. We're going to take a look at it. This machine's, I don't think it's even ran before. It's brand new. I just pulled it out of the line to do a video. So this spark plug should be immaculate and clean. So let's get it out and take a look at it. And just like I said, just a 16 mil deep socket. You're going to need a deep socket. Now your spark plug, once you take the tension off it, like how take the where it's tightened in and take it off, once you do that, it should come out with your fingers just like this. It shouldn't be hard to come out. So you look at this plug, and it has ran, but it's only ran maybe once or twice. It's super clean. There's no buildup on it. This plug's gonna go right back in. I do recommend that you use an NGK plug with it. This came with an off-brand Chinese company, but I would recommend changing that plug to an NGK plug as soon as you possibly can. The NGK plugs, I find, Bosch are good too, so's Champion. Not saying anything bad about those plugs, but NGK seems to take the heat a lot better. I grew up snowmobiling, and I would rather have an NGK plug in my snowmobile than in any other thing. So there's your plug, like I said. So we're gonna put the plug back in, because like I said, it's brand new. And again, when you tighten it in, just tighten it till you feel it get nice and tight, and then stop. That's it. You don't have to strip them holes. You just want to get your plug back in there nice and tight. Another thing you're going to want to check out when you're doing these maintenance, come down here, you're going to want to take a look at your air filter. I'm going to turn my camera up a tiny bit. So your air filter is right here. Change it. When you change your oil and your spark plug, change this air filter as well. It's super easy to find. or you can get a hold of us. We have these filters in stock, but it's a very common filter. So that's where your filter is right there. Now, when it comes to draining the oil on this unit, the oil bolt is always going to be on the right side of the unit. I'm going to show you where the oil bolt is, but I want you to know it's always going to be on the right side. The one on the left side is not to do anything with your oil. Just leave it alone. That's for your timing chain, and it's the timing chain tensioner, and you don't want to mess around with that. You don't want to pull it out. You just want to, like I said, you want to get out your oil bolt, and your oil bolt is here. I'm gonna have to do some maneuver in here with my camera, but your oil bolt is, like I said, on the right hand side, and that's it right there, right there. So you just loosen that off, and the oil will drain directly out. There we go. So then, when you drain that out, make sure it's drained out completely. Give it about 10 minutes. Put the plug back in, and then to fill your oil is right here. Now on the Grizzly, the boot well is here. So you're gonna have to take this boot well off. It's not difficult. I have lots of videos on how to take it off. You just remove the 3 screws here on this side, the 3 screws on that side, and then there's 2 on the bottom, and that boot well comes right off. That's just to access where you put the oil in. So you take this off, and you put your oil in here. Now, you don't want to put too much oil in this, and if you do, you're going to find out really fast that it comes out. Now, it's not going to be leaking, and everybody thinks that if you put too much oil in, it starts leaking out. It's not leaking out. There's actually a blow-off for this engine. So that line that comes off the back of the engine right here, if you put too much oil in this unit, it's all going to come out the back of this. It's going to create too much pressure, it's going to blow up to the top of the engine, and it's going to blow all the excess oil out of here. You only want to put 400 milliliters of oil in this. That's it. You don't want to put any more than that. 400 mils is all this engine takes, and that will bring you right to the hash mark on your dipstick here. And you can add, so you want to add, if you see that you're down a little bit, you want to add oil to bring it right to here, to the top of this, while the threads are down. A lot of people will take it and do it like this. That's not how you do it, because it's not getting a true measurement. You want to go all the way down, and then all the way back up to check your oil. So like I said, 400 mils, you've got your oil changed, you've got your spark plug changed, and we've changed the air filter. Now we're going to start looking at a few other things. Check your tires. So your tires should have anywhere between 10 to 15 pounds of ride pressure. That is all. Any more than that, you're going to start splitting your tires at the grips here. I've seen a lot of people put way too much air in these tires, and then they're just like stones. And then the machine's really rough to drive on too. It makes it a lot rougher. So these tires, like I said, remember, it's between 10 and 15 pounds operating pressure, no more than that. You don't want to, like I said, bulge your tire. So that's what you have to do. So we've checked our tires, our pressure is good, say, like I said, between 10 and 15 pounds, every tire. Then we're gonna look for grease nipples. Some of these units come with grease nipples, some do not. So if yours doesn't have it, it's not a huge deal, but some do. So the grease nipple would be right here on the unit, on most of them, and down here on these. Now, like I said, if yours doesn't have it, it doesn't have it. Some do, some don't. So it's nothing to worry about. If you see yours and they don't have them, then don't worry about it. But some do have grease nipples. So take a look, see if yours has grease nipples. If it does, add grease accordingly. Next, sorry about that. Just want to get my camera in the right way. Okay, so next we're gonna look at a few other things. You're gonna want to check out your ball joints, lower and upper, and your tie rod end. And a good way to check those is just shake the tire back and forth like this and see if there's any play in those when you do that. Any play, you don't want any play in your ball joints. You want to take a good look. And again, with your tie rod end back here, you want to see if there's any play in that. If there is, let us know, and we can go from there. And if we see that you need ball joints or anything like that, we have those in stock as well. Another thing you're going to want to check is your brake pads. The brakes are pretty good on these. They're very nice, especially on this one. It's got disc brakes front and back, whereas the Grizzly does not. The Grizzly has a cable brake system in the front, but it can be adjusted. I have videos on how to adjust that too as well on YouTube. But you're going to want to check your brakes front and back. The front brakes are pretty easy to check. You just remove this 10mm bolt and this 10mm bolt, take it off, and take a look. Like I said, the front brakes on this, they very rarely wear down because they are a disc brake system. But everybody is really hard on the rear brake. So if we come back here, this is usually where you see your most wear, is on the rear brake right here. And you can look right inside. These are brand new pads. I can see there's a good thickness on each. There's probably about 5 or 6 millimeters of pad on there. It's a brand new pad, so there's nothing wrong with that. So that is all good. You also want to check your chain tension. This chain here is super tight. That's normal on a new machine. They expect it to stretch. Your chain is going to stretch a bit, so you want to tighten your chain as well. We do have a chain tightening video. If it doesn't have to be razor wire tight, it has to have about a 1/4 inch play in it, up and down. This one, like I said, doesn't have a 1/4 inch play in it because it's piano wire tight because it's brand new. But you want about a 1/4 inch play just so your chain moves up and down, and that's it. Again, I have videos on how to tighten the chain. You can take a quick look here on YouTube, and I have lots of videos on how to do that. Now, when it comes to gas, you want to stay with the higher octane gas, 91% if you can. And that just gives the machine just a little bit more oomph. Another thing you're going to want to check is your brake reservoirs. So take your screw out of here, and lift the top off. Fill up as needed. These machines usually take .3 and .4 brake fluid, so you don't have to worry if you grab the wrong one. It'll work for both. Another thing is, come down here. This is your stator cover. So this is like the alternator of the machine in behind here. So what that does is, in behind this case, there's a thing that when the motor is turned on, it charges the battery and runs all the electrical on this machine. So you want to take a good look at that. And that's pretty well the whole maintenance schedule. You could also, I would have you check your battery, make sure it's holding a good charge. A battery tester is very nice. It'll give you the life of the battery. It usually tells you everything, how long the battery will be good for, what the charge is at, all that stuff. So that's pretty well the whole maintenance schedule on it. If you find any parts that are, they look like they're falling off or broken, anything like that, you'll want to make sure and let us know. We do stock parts for every part of this machine. And that's pretty well it. You could check your lights too, check your brakes, make sure your brake lights both work. I'm gonna turn this one on. Brake lights are very important, especially trail riding. This one's got a good brake light on both sides. Yeah, it works perfect. Turn the key back off. And that's pretty well it for maintaining your machine. Check for oil leaks on your shocks as well. If you see any oil leaks on your shocks, because it happens, a shock can blow a seal and it can start leaking. But those are all the major points that I would do for maintenance on the 125cc or the 110cc. If you see something that doesn't look right, again, contact us. That's what we're here for. We're here to help. If there's any issues you're having, anything like that, we're here to help you. But that's it. So that's how you maintain, and you usually do that look or that walk around once a season. So every summer do it. If you're in a state or province where you can drive in the winter time, again, you're going to want to do that in the winter. The batteries you want to be very careful of in the winter, because when it's real cold, it doesn't take much to freeze a battery. So if you can, park it indoors. If you can't, and I understand that some people don't have that, if it's going to be out in the cold, so if your machine's going to be sitting out in the cold for weeks on end, bring the battery in the house. Just take the battery out and bring it in the house. It's the safest thing. So something else I'd like to talk to you about is washing it. Now, this machine can be washed. You can use a pressure washer if you'd like. You can use pretty well anything you'd like to wash it. Sorry about that, I'm just going to move my camera over enough. So a lot of people will just pressure wash it. Now, if you pressure wash it, you can do that, and you can do that no problem at all. But you want to stay hard away from the heavy electronics. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we got our seat off. Now this box right here underneath here, you start spraying inside there with water in that box. There's electronical stuff in there, like your solenoids in there, and if you fill that with water, your solenoid's going to ground out and it's not going to be good. So you could stuff that or put something plastic over it. Like I said, you can pressure wash it, but just watch where you're pressure washing hard. Like the panels, stuff like that, no problem. Even if you do pressure wash it, give it a bit of time to dry first before you take it for a ride. And you want to be careful up in the front there, because your CDI is up there, just underneath right here. Your CDI is there, so you don't want to blow that full of water either. Like I said, other than that, then your air filter, you don't want to be spraying your air filter. Don't spray up the muffler, things like that. It's just a little bit of common sense. You don't want to be spraying everywhere the electronics are, stuff like that. If you do, and you did give it everything a good spray, leave the key turned off, leave the machine in the sun, and let it warm up. Once it dries out, everything will be fine. Like I said, it is an ATV, and it is expected to ride through some water, but it's not expected to take 100 pounds pressure of water sprayed at the CDI. Like, it's just not going to work out. And I wouldn't do that in a car either. I wouldn't open the hood and start spraying in the fuse box when you're washing your car. It's not going to be a good idea. You're going to end up breaking something or melting something. So you don't want to do that. So that's pretty well it for the maintenance on it. If you have any questions or concerns, leave it in the comments below, and we're always here to help.